welcome to another episode of Connections. Today I'll be speaking with the lovely soprano, Agne G. Hi, Agne.
Hi,
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. Relaxed day, which is good.
That's good.
So tell us what you're up to, because obviously, it's lockdown, but you actually are studying, aren't you? You're in school.
Yes, I am at College of DuPage and I'm studying for my associates in music.
Wonderful.
And half of it is online, half in person. So that's nice that I get to at least see my professors.
Yeah, and see some friends, hopefully, right? Can you do like ensembles, spaced out ensembles, or?
Yes, actually, we can. So that's really nice.
That's great. So I like to go right back to the beginning. So you've obviously I was just looking at your YouTube channel. You have these precious videos when you were very young. You obviously started very young. So tell us a little bit about your childhood, how you got started in music.
Well, I first actually started playing piano when I was 5 years old. And I would always kind of sing all the time. I was very shy. And I really started singing when my mom would play Andrew Lloyd Webber, like the CD, around the house. And I was shy, so I didn't want her to hear me sing. So I would hide away and sing along to Memory from Cats. And my mom would be like, "Who is that screaming?" I was apparently very loud, but I didn't know how to sing. And I had a lot of passion. So I really wanted to do it, but I just didn't know how. So my mom thought, why not? I'll take her to voice lessons and see how it goes. And um, lo and behold, I was able to sing and I was able to develop my voice. And this was when I was 8 years old. So, as a child, you still don't have a full voice, but the teacher saw potential in me, and that's how I started.
That's great. I have a question for you, actually, because as your voice is maturing, obviously, you try and sing certain repertoire, that's sort of thing. Well, my words are getting all caught up, but to keep your voice safe. But did you experience any kind of voice change?
Definitely. When I was 12, I could barely sing. Like my voice, I just kind of lost my voice for a couple of months. And I couldn't sing like A4, like above middle C. Like it was that bad. And I just went through like a big change and I had to approach my voice differently from then on, because I learned things a different way and now I had to relearn. So I had this whole amount of time where I was like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with my voice? But really, it just changed and I didn't know how to deal with that until I was able to find different techniques how to approach my voice.
Yeah, no, I love that you said that, because I went through, actually mine was later, it was like 16, but it was
Mhm.
really rough because I used to sing like Minnie Mouse and then all of a sudden it came down.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it was
yeah.
such a strange period. I think not enough girls realized that. And then when I was teaching, the girls
Mhm.
would feel really bad and they're like, their voice is not as strong as it used to be. And it's
Yeah,
part of the process of growing up. So,
yeah, yeah, exactly.
but through that time, did you keep competing? Because you also started competing very early.
Yes, I really started competing like right from the start.
Okay.
My voice teacher was like, you should try, like, get on stage, get some experience. And at first I was quite nervous, but I had this sort of like natural liking to performing and like being on stage. So yeah, I basically started right away and I started at local competitions until I found more competitions like American Protege was an international competition online and you submit a video. And I was 12 years old, I believe, and I ended up going to Carnegie Hall from that. So
Amazing.
that was really crazy. As a 12-year-old, you're like, what? Like, what is going on? Like, that is so crazy. So we went to New York. I got to see everything. It was my first time in New York. It was such a crazy experience, especially, for a kid at that age. So, and I saw so many other talented young musicians. I felt quite how you'd say it, intimidated
Yeah.
because I was like, wow, I'm so lucky, So that was also one of the biggest competitions I went to as a kid. So yeah.
Do you remember being like, I guess at that age, can you even take it all in, like that it's such a legendary stage? Can you remember being on that stage?
Um, I don't think I really was able to take it in. It was like just such a whirlwind. And
Which
then when
maybe
I
was
like,
good, right?
yeah, it was good. um, just afterward, I was like, wait, did I really do that? He was like, wow, that was cool, So I think when you're in the moment, you just like do it and then you think about it later.
Yeah, no, thankfully we don't consider it, because at that age, if you really did, it would just feel like so much.
Yeah, maybe a little too much. Yeah.
I also think that kids have this wonderful, like, maybe they do get nervous, but it doesn't seem like it gets worse as you get older. They seem like to be able to really handle all these incredible things that come in such a great way.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays, I mean, before COVID, I would always still get like a good amount of nervousness, but I think that's healthy, just like a
Yeah.
little bit, adrenaline before and then you go sort of thing. But nowadays, I haven't been able to perform in so long, so it might be a little different.
Probably be a couple, but then once you get into it, you'll be great at it again.
Yeah,
And you've
yeah,
kept busy because you've been doing lots of online shows.
yes,
So
yes, that was definitely very fun. It was very different because I hadn't sung in front of people for maybe a month or two when quarantine started. And then I'm like, you know what? I really want to do something and I want to do something for my fans. So I was like, okay, let's do like weekly concerts. And I came up with themes and stuff like that. So that was a whole different experience because you still have an audience, but you don't hear them or see them. So that I got used to it and I actually really liked it. So yeah, that was kind of most of quarantine what I did.
yeah, I remember seeing all your concerts pop up there. So it was a great experience. What did you learn like about the technology of it? Were you doing it on your own or were your parents helping you out?
My parents helped me out because we realized that it sounds best with an actual sound system.
Yeah.
So like my dad has a sound system, so we would plug it up and get it all ready. And then the live stream side I took care of. And there were lots of problems with the Wi-Fi
Yeah.
sometimes and internet. So I had to kind of figure out all of that for myself and how that works. But it wasn't too complicated. But definitely live streaming, there were lots of difficulties with that just because of the internet. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one thing I'm always nervous about is the internet connection just dropping out.
Right. It just pauses and you're like, oh, okay.
Now, did you start your Patreon before or during COVID?
I did it before.
Okay.
Now I don't remember the exact date, but it was a little bit before COVID, I believe. And I thought of doing, monthly music videos for my patrons and adding some like behind the scenes and stuff like that. So it all first started through my GoFundMe. For my Christmas CD that was released in 2018. So I believe I started my GoFundMe somewhere in 2017. And that was really wonderful to see how I can give like gifts to my not patrons, but my people who would fund me, and I would talk to them. I would do video chats. I would show them the studio when I was in there. It was really fun. So I was like, you know what, I should really do this more. And I love to interact with my fans. And I started Patreon because also definitely because of COVID as well. Once that started up, I was like, yeah, I don't get to perform.
Yeah.
So at least I had some projects to work on and some goals to set myself to work towards.
And where are you like recording these? Because I saw like What I Did for Love. It's quite a big stage, quite beautiful.
Yes. So that was more towards the beginning, where I still was able to go to one recording studio in Wisconsin, actually. And it was not actually staged, it was just a really big recording space. And he
Okay.
had black curtains and like lights. He made it look like a stage, and it was really amazing. It was actually a live performance. So he had a mic somewhere
On
towards the
top of it,
back,
yeah.
and it was, yeah, he had different mics and he was picking up my sound, which was really interesting because I've never done that before. I've only like sung to the mic instead of doing video and audio at the same time. So that was really cool. But afterwards, I was not able to go to a recording studio at all. So then I was recording at home. So, and I had a very bad like setup. It was not the best, but it did come out with a decent sound. So then, thanks to my patrons, I was able to get a new mic and stuff like that. Actually, I think my mic is very similar to yours.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I was able to get that, and now I'm trying to put out some better audio quality.
I know that's the one thing is I was hearing they said even like audio is more important than video, but it's still a challenge for me to figure it out.
Oh yes, my mom usually does video for me. Except my very last video, I actually was taking a selfie that whole time, and it was really funny because I had this like selfie stick that moves, and it was not listening to me. So some of the shots, it was like going down a little. I'm like, yeah. So it's like one of those that like track or something, but I had to manually do it. And if you go this way, it goes the opposite way for some reason. So I was like trying to learn it as I was filming it. And then my mom video edited everything. She's really good at that. She has a good eye for how to do that. So yeah.
That's pretty cool. No, one question I have, obviously, as classical singers, I feel like the one issue with these mics is they normally blow out the instant we do a high note. So how do you kind of manage that?
Well, before I had a Yeti mic. So, and I tried to record actually for the classical crossover, the March 28th concert. And I was like, oh my gosh, I keep blowing out my mic, blowing it out. And I just put it really far away.
Yep.
And I was doing this like through GarageBand. So like not much to work with. I put down the recording level as automatic. So it would like go down when it was like too loud. So it wouldn't blow out the mic. And then afterward, I got this like a rough audio of like my voice like going really loud and then soft. So I had to like manually go in there and try to like compress it and like fix it. So that was with that Yeti mic, but now I got a C something for 214, I believe. I don't remember, but now that mic is a lot better with that. And if I want to sing something high and loud, I can just put it back away from me and it can survive.
Yeah.
And it
Survive
won't blow out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was asking because I actually did something in the studio over Christmas, but I wanted to do it from home. So I asked, and he said this one had like a pad where it can take it down 10 decibels. So he told me to get this
Wow.
one. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, still haven't tried it, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm
Well,
always wondering what I can do better with my recordings because I'm not a pro at all.
you know whose recordings are so beautiful is Christina Johnson. Her husband does a really nice job.
Yes, definitely. I love hers. Yeah.
So now let's go back to your albums. You mentioned your Christmas album, but
Yes.
tell us about your very first album that you did.
That was from when I was age 10, 11 to 12. So basically we wanted to preserve my young child voice, in like a recording and in a CD. So it was called Dream, Never Let Go of Your Dreams. And I sang, I think maybe 10 songs or 8 songs. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they're all in order from age. So as I grew older, you can hear it actually in the CD, how my voice changed, and especially that included a little bit of the voice change I was going through when I was 12 years old. So it's it's kind of funny to hear it back because I'm like, this is a little squeaky Mickey Mouse child, it was such a tiny little voice. But yeah, it's still very like nostalgic. I remember doing it in my voice teacher's basement, in this little like cubicle and like trying my best. I was really working hard, I remember, and it was really wonderful. And so yeah, that was my very first one.
That's super cool though that you did it at the different ages, because then you really have a memento of your
Yeah,
voice.
yeah.
So now Tuomo is one of our Patreons. He's one of our associate producers. So he had a question for you about your time in treb Principessa, a little bit about that. Tell us about your big achievement on the charts.
Yes. So me, Anastasia Lee, and her sister Tatiana, we all kind of kept seeing each other at competitions. We were always running into each other, and we're like, what if we did a collaboration? And we came up with that name, Tre Principesse, Three Princesses, and we're like, let's do a CD. And we did it in Wisconsin. Some of it I did on my own, my solos in the Chicago area. We came up with the name Getting to Know You. We were doing lots of musical theater, some classical crossover pieces. And it was fun because we all had very different voices. Tatiana had this like beautiful, like angelic voice, and she was really good with like country, and she did this wonderful country song. Anastasia has a nice low voice, a rich voice, and I'm kind of somewhere in the middle. So we had this whole like three totally different voices come together on a CD, and we really enjoyed it. And we also all went to Romania for like Kids Voice Festival. And she was actually one of the judges, Anastasia, because she had won it before. And me and Tatiana, we were over there like like doing the competition. It was so fun. We were in a totally different country. It was like kind of like almost a culture shock because we were just seeing so many different things. And there was like one time where I was like chased by this one woman, like on accident. I didn't know if I was being chased or not, so I just ran. I was like, run, because there were people on the street begging, and I feel horrible about it, but I didn't have any Romanian cash or anything, so I ignored the woman, and she threw something towards us, and I'm like, run. And I left everyone behind. I was like, please run.
You're like, I'm out of here on the Flash right now, gone.
Yes, I didn't know I could run that fast. So we had lots of fun adventures. And then once the CD came out, we had a few concerts with the CD, and somehow it went on to Billboard #2 on the classical charts. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. So then we got the Wisconsin Area Music Industry Award in, I believe, 2018. So that was really all of the experiences that we had as Tre Principesse, and it was really wonderful.
So obviously, with them, that was three kids that were kind of in the same thing that you were going through. But how did your peers kind of view all your activities? Did they know you were doing all this cool stuff or not really?
Well, when I was younger, I was actually made fun of it.
Yeah.
For it. They were like, opera girl. And I was like, no, I'm not an opera girl. And as I grew older, I found my like group of like music friends and like people who would understand me and what I did. And people knew. I wouldn't like go out and say, hello, I sing, sort of thing, and like shout it from the roofs. Like I really didn't tell people until they found out, and they're like, oh, you sing? Yeah, I do. I never liked bragging or something like that. So the people who were closest to me knew what I do, and like we all kind of supported each other because we were all musicians and we did our own sort of things. So my peers knew, but I didn't make it center of conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course not. How about you have a wonderful collaboration with your friend Marty, and you guys kind of do like a comedy routine. So when did you guys meet, and how did that start?
Ooh, many years ago. So we're both Lithuanian, and the Lithuanian community in the Chicago area is so big, and basically everyone knows each other. And I kind of just knew of him all the time. And I was actually in this church choir that he used to be in. He's a lot older than me, like late 20s. And
Oh no,
basically,
I'm really old then.
oh my goodness, no.
I'm just teasing you guys.
But yeah, I'm just saying he's not my age.
No, I know.
Yeah. So he was in this other choir called Dainava, and I actually ended up joining Dainava anyway, once I was, I believe, a sophomore in high school. And it's an amazing Lithuanian choir, and I'm still there. And he was one of the tenors there, and he had an amazing voice. And somehow we just kind of became friends right away as soon as we met each other. And I would hear him sing, and I'm like, Marty, we have to do something together. And, you know, he was kind of like flamboyant and like awesome on stage. And we were coming up with, you know, repertoire to do together. And, you know, he loves to sing high, like soprano land. And I'm like, what if we did something fun where we were like fighting on stage, where like soprano fights tenor? And we're like fighting for like being the diva. And we kind of came up with that sort of comedic routine, and it was just so fun. We really enjoyed it. We did that mainly on this talent show called Suburban Chicago's Got Talent. And we came up with like Memory from Cats, where I am like, we're like about to do a duet, and I'm like, no, this is a solo. You're supposed to be at the piano. And he's like, what? I got the silent part. And I'm like, no, this makes a lot of noise. So we kind of made this whole like, you know, personas on stage. And then he like comes in like singing the different cats, like where it's like an aria and it's a duet. So he starts singing it up the register, and like it was so fun. So he came up with all kinds of fun ideas, and we definitely want to keep doing that. So yeah.
You guys also did like a Valentine's Day concert together.
Yes. We were kind of, this one was also like a touch of comedy as well, because we're like, okay, we're gonna do a serious concert, it's gonna be fun. And then all of a sudden he's like, by the middle of the concert, he's singing like Valkyrie, where she's like crying because her love died or something like that. So he's like, yeah, that's perfect for Valentine's, it's all about love. So we did lots of fun stuff like that. Yeah.
Now you are currently you mentioned you're in college. So what are some of the goals that you're looking forward to now with your music?
Well, I want to kind of get the most out of my music education. I would love to keep studying piano. I love teaching. I would love to maybe get us something in education as well. So really, I'm just going to see where I transfer and what I can do, because I have one more year until I transfer for my bachelor's. And yeah, I really want to keep on doing vocal performance and see where it takes me. My goal is really to perform as much as I can. And I do really love teaching and actually playing organ in churches. That's just some of the stuff I've been doing and found as a passion. So yeah, I just want to build upon my musical skills in general.
So off topic, but I went to school in Berrien Springs, which is like about an hour from Chicago. It's a school called Andrews. They would totally take you. So just
okay.
They have a good music
I'm
ed program.
See everywhere where I can go.
Yeah. So tell us
awesome.
just a little more about your you mentioned playing the organist. You're an organist for a local congregation, and you also do arrangements of like choir pieces and things like that too, right?
Yes. Well, with organ, I just kind of started because my previous piano teacher was like, you definitely should try this. You'll have a job at a church. And I started with just the manual, and I haven't started with the pedals. That is a whole nother beast. But it's definitely different from piano. You have the keyboard, but it's smaller, and you don't have a sustain pedal. So if you just press it, you have no way to sustain it other than with your fingers themselves. So you have to like kind of do like what I like to call finger yoga, where like you have to really be like this instead of like kind of hammering at the piano. You have to be like, yeah, if that makes any sense. So I started that a few years ago, and I hope to continue with that. And then the choir arrangements, that was kind of recent because we came up with collaboration ideas with a bunch of other young classical crossover singers. And they were like, let's do this choir arrangement. And I'm like, okay, I can do it. I came up with the parts and stuff like that. And it was a really good experience for me to learn.
That was, I believe, that song is that.
Yes, I believe there was like 12 girls. So I'm like, how am I gonna fit this all in? Yeah, so it's a lot of work, but I definitely enjoy it, and I love kind of coming up with ideas. And now that I'm learning music theory, I'm learning so much more. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, the ideas that I had before, that's not correct. I want to, fix it all up and stuff like that. Now that I learned the technical like stuff about all of that. So I really love doing that as well.
So we'll have to keep seeing. I know you did a beautiful arrangement of Danny Boy for our concert that we did. I forget which one, but yeah, that sounded great. So we'll have to see more from arranger.
Thank you. That would be so fun.
So our last question, just kind of a fun thing. You've shown on social media that you fostered dogs a lot. So tell us, how did you get started with that? That's so great.
Well, it started from quarantine. Like for so many people, because, we were not traveling anywhere, we weren't doing anything. And I was like, you know what? I've always wanted a pet at home. And then I saw this one person on social media who was like, foster. And I'm like, wait, I could actually foster, because I would babysit dogs for other people. And I was like, oh, I should definitely foster. So it started, I believe, in April. My first foster, his name was Zeke, and he was a sweet little boy, but he was definitely a handful. So poor thing, was very anxious. So we couldn't leave him alone. And when we left him at home in a crate, I came back 4 hours later to see that my room was destroyed. So poor thing was so anxious. So that was very terrifying as a first foster, having, a poor dog who didn't know what to do with himself. So in total, I've had 4 foster dogs. Zeke, the anxious one, I had Romeo, Jemmy, and now my foster fail, Chase. Yes, he is now sleeping, dozing away over there. He is a sweetheart. I fostered him for about 3 weeks, and right away my mom was like, I think we're gonna keep him. And it was my mom, not even me. I was like, no, I was trying not to get attached, because I really got attached to my first dog. And I was really trying not to get attached. I'm like, he's going to have a great home. He's going to have a great home somewhere. And then my mom's like, you know what? We're going to keep him, because he was so sweet and so perfect for our family. So now he's having his best life, and we love him to pieces. So yeah, that's what we've got. And we hope to keep fostering. We just need for him to settle down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. Well, I'm glad you have your new family member. So we'll link, I guess the next thing is for people who follow you is to really keep going on your Patreon and seeing your new videos. Is that right?
Yes.
And then we're recording this a little bit in advance, but when this goes out, the next week will also be your mini concert for us. So yeah, everyone should tune in next week.
Yes, it's gonna be very fun.
Do you have any sneak peeks of any songs you're gonna do, like any repertoire?
There's going to be a variety.
Okay.
It's going to be a variety of songs from many different places. So just like how I like to have a variety, you'll see all of that.
Sounds awesome. Well, thank you so much, Agne. It was great to speak to you. And finally, well, no, we did meet once before, but it feels like it's been a while. So
it has. I feel like it has been.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Agne. We'll continue to support you. Everyone, check out her concert next week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. We hope you've enjoyed today's interview. Next week, we have another special treat for you. We have Agne's mini concert, so be sure to tune in same time to this channel. Go ahead and hit subscribe so you can be notified when we go live. And then at the end of this month, we have our Sound of Crossover concert. Very excited about that. So make sure you tell all your music-loving friends, and you'll come back here May 30th. See you next week.